And hello, class. This is Professor Gregory, and I'm going to give you a quick video on just doing a table of contents, just to separate that out from the rest of the long video regarding the Microsoft Word formatting for your final reports. So if we start with a completely blank document, right now I just have one sheet showing here, the first page, and if you can see, I've turned on the ability to see the crop marks and also these other formatting characters, which we go into File menu, and if you go way down to Options, and that takes, I go through this in the other video, so I'm not going to go through it here. Well, I guess I'm here anyway, so I'll show it. So when we come into the options to be able to show all these non-printing, these formatting characters, click the display menu over here and click show all formatting marks and then click advanced, and you need to page down about 2 pages. So I page down 1 and 2, and when I'm down on the second page that I've paged down to here, it says show crop marks. Okay, so I already have mine showing. Set that up. At least I'm recommending that, to set that up and view your documents this way to stay out of trouble. And I'm trying to show you a very simple table of contents. Some of the other videos out there, not the ones that I made, are quite long and confusing about this. So you're going to have a cover page here. This is how simple I'm going to do it to keep it really simple. Then I hit Control Enter, and the second page, Control Enter gives us a new page. If you look, it will have inserted a page break here. And then when we get to the second page here, this is where we're going to have the contents. And I'm not going to put anything there except one carriage return. And I'm going to do another Control Enter. Now we're down on the third page here. Okay, so I'm going to use the Business 3010 class, although this applies to any class that we might be doing these Microsoft Word reports in. And in Kibbe and Strand for the Business 3010 operations, we need to format this. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to put in an introduction. I'm doing this really shorthand here now. You can go ahead and do a much more detailed job than this, but I'm trying to keep it very simple to show how to start a template here so that it works. The whole structure will work. And if we do put some intelligence into the headings, the contents, the table of contents gets built automatically. You do not want to have to build your contents by hand. So we have an introduction, and then we're going to have a profitability for this project, profitability section. You know what, I'll put in here Kibbe and Strand. So we can put it in context. Kibbe and Strand is the company. And within each of the major sections here, we're going to have Kibbe and Strand profitability. I'm going to Control C, Control V, Control V. Second major section is going to be schedule, like that, right? So we had Excel spreadsheets where we did profitability and schedule in there. So for under each of these, the best way to talk about this, or at least one of the best ways, at least the minimal way to do this, is the 5 areas. If you look at the production facility for Kibbe and Strand, there's 5 areas. So the first one is receiving. Then we have production floor. Then we have shipping. Then we have bidding and contracts. And finally, we have human resources, basically hiring, right? Okay. And we're going to do the same thing. I'm going to pull all these up, Control C. We come down below the second part here. We're going to repeat that whole structure down here under Kibbe and Strand schedule. Okay, so now what we're going to do is we're going to use the built-in heading formats from Microsoft Word. So what I'm going to do is going to pick the top level heading ones like this. I'm going to click heading 1 just like that, and all those turn into heading 1. Now there's intelligence because we turned on to display or show on the screen the non-printable characters. You can see that there's these little tick marks next to here that indicates that it's part of the intelligent Microsoft Word. I forget what they use the word for. They do a outline view. I think it's called outline, right? So for outline, we need to put in these intelligent headers. So those are our heading ones, and you can see it's still selected up there. And then we're going to collect these other 5 here, collect these other 5 here. And to be able to do that, what I did tell you what I did is I hold down the left mouse button and I'm selecting these, and then to add to that selection, I hold down the Control key, which adds these to the selection. You see how I skipped over this line here. I just want those 2 sections. We're going to hit heading 2. Okay, so now we have some intelligence built into this. I'm going to Control save it, and I just have a quick contents video is the name of my file here. Okay, And remember, we saved this one page here for our table of contents. You put your cursor in here, make it active, go to references. First thing is table of contents. If you want to play around with all these different formats they give you, go ahead, but the first one's fine for this. As soon as I click that, it creates the entire table of contents. Everything's on page 3. It shows us our 3 major headings. Okay. All right. So now let's try to update. This is the important part. One of the things I wanted to show here is after you start changing your document around, you need to come back and refresh your contents, this automatic contents page. Probably for your document, the contents page is not going to go longer than 1 page. That's all. All right. So a couple things here. First of all, let's at least start breaking this down. I'm going to hit Control Enter. I'm going to leave introduction on its own page, and we can type into that. We can type introduction information in there. So I pushed the next major section down to, what are we on? Page 4 here. And so then I'm going to do it again with the major section, the major heading here. I'm Control Enter, push that to a new page. And I'm going to add a conclusion, right? That's the next part here, conclusion, right? So Control Enter pushes it down to this last page here. And I'm going to select that and come back to the home menu page and make that a heading 1. So we now spread this thing longer. Now it's 6 pages, and we have another heading 1 in here. And the reason that I did that was to show what happens when you start modifying your document. I'm going to do a Control Save on that. I'm going to head up to my contents page, and what you need to do is click the word Contents and click Update Table, and make sure you select Update Entire Table here, not just the page numbers, because we added a new section. You have to put in here and update the entire table, or it would miss the fact that we have a new section there. I click OK, and you can see that it added the conclusion section into the contents. And it also updated all the page numbers. And that's a very short, as short as I can make it, video about how to do the table of contents. So one last thing to do before we leave this is the document was specified to use 12 point Times New Roman here and double spacing. So one of the things we need to do is not so much that the spacing matters that much here, but we have to change the font for these headings. What we're using are the stock heading formats from Microsoft Word. So what we need to do is just modify that. It's not very hard to do. Just click the heading up here and right click it. After it's selected, right click it, and we're going to say modify it. Okay. So we have to work through this. We want to make sure that it's black. We'll use automatic is what usually works here. We need to change it to Times New Roman, and we're going to push it back down to 12 font like that. And we'll go real crazy here, and we'll actually make it bold. Okay, none of this is too critical. The bold part is not critical on this. The rest of it is. And the only other thing that we would want to do is, and I'm sure I can do from this screen, we have to set this in this format. We have to click the format down here, and we're going to click paragraph, and we need to get rid of these spacing selections here. And we're going to take a look at the rest of this. Looks nice and generic. Nothing's going to get in our way here. But what we do want to do is make sure we make this double. Just click OK. Click OK. And then the magic of this will be, as we come down here, you can see that all of the headings are now 12 point. It used to be this large blue font here, and now they're all 12 point Times New Roman. So we're going to go ahead and do that for the second heading too. This is just repeating what we just did, exactly the same thing, because we're not going to play with any other kinds of fonts but 12 point Times New Roman. Go to modify. We're going to do the exact same thing in here. We're going to turn the color to automatic. Set ourselves up for Times New Roman. Go to 12. The rest of this looks okay. We need to go to the format, paragraph, get rid of these spacings that they put in here, go to double, and now that will behave very well. Okay, so okay. Right, so now we can see as we come down here that everything is 12 point. We didn't turn on bold for that. Okay, so only the heading levels 1 will be bold. All right, and so there you have it.